Oh, she has one child. It's a very painful thing because I tell people this. If men went through labor like women did, I think a lot of this problems, a lot of this ignorance will not be there. Because if someone has been through labor, had children, and then you're saying those children, because they're girls, they're female, you don't regard them, that's very painful. If you haven't walked in anyone's shoes, don't tell them how to feel. So Abies will be joining us soon. So then we followed Abies, and we went to her leaving home. Eventually she ran away from home, and at a very young age into a very foreign country. And then Ayodeji, hello, thank you for joining. And then she found that all that glitters is not gold. She came to a country that didn't speak her language, even English, and she had to struggle, and she fell into the hands of a psychopath. Those are Abies' words, a psychopath, a man who took pleasure in abusing her and her child. Pix J, hello love, thank you. That's one of my co-hosts. How are you? It's good to have you here. I'm seeing a lot of my co-hosts, and some of you are probably wondering who my co-hosts are. Well, you meet them one day. But yes, thank you. These are my supporters. They've always been there for me. They've been with me along my journey on YouTube, on Instagram. I mean, I just love these guys. Okay. So yes, so Abies kept, stayed with this person. Again, that's what happens. People don't understand. When women or men stay with their abusers, it's usually out of fear. Sometimes it's love, because you want to believe. You want to believe that things will change for the better. And sometimes it's because no one is supporting you. You don't have a support network. I have been in that situation where I stayed in an abusive relationship because I didn't have a support network. Eventually I left, though. I didn't stay very long. Okay, you're stronger than you know. And that's what breaking limits is. To form a network of people, to form a network of friends, to tell you, share experiences, and to let you know that, you know what, you're stronger than you know. You don't have to stay in that place. Okay, Osanya, man. Cute. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. I'm waving back. And for those of you, if I'm not immediately responding, just know I'm not very techie. So I don't want to click the wrong thing and then boom, I'm kicked off. So one of the letters while we're waiting for Abies to join us is, let me see. Okay, let me pick this one. She's like, people complain this one is from Tessa. This I know is a female. Said, people complain that they are in an abusive relationship and they stay on. For the life of me, I will never know why people stay in an abusive relationship. And the second part of my question is, you shared with us, that's me. Okay. That you were sexually assaulted and it took you a long time to come out. Why? My thing is, if it is that painful, you will talk about it immediately. Okay, so I'm going to pick this also. The first part of it. Again, I just mentioned, if you are not walking in my shoes or anyone's shoes, do not be in a hurry to judge. Be very careful when you're judging. If you're not walking in my shoes, do not tell me how to feel. There are many reasons why people stay in a relationship. Again, sometimes it's finance. They don't have financial power. They do not have economic power. In my situation, I can speak to that. I didn't, because I gave up a lot to move to be with this person. So I hadn't had time to establish financial power. So you need to understand that economic power is very, very important. That's why something I'm also going to talk about during this Breaking Limits. And this is targeted at my women, fellow women. You need to have economic power. No matter what it is you do, I don't care what it is. You have to have some form of training, education, or business. And this also, goes for the man too. You've got to have economic power, because when you don't and you're relying on the other person, the tendency is they are going to take advantage of you and they're going to lord it over you. And that eventually is going to lead to the demise of the relationship. So when people stay in relationships, a lot of times there's no support network. Family isn't supporting them, friends are not supporting them, or they're getting some kind of advice that is just, the advice is stay there in bed. It doesn't matter where you go, you're always going to face some type of abuse one way or the other. I don't believe in that. People stay because of their children. Okay. For those of you listening right now, staying because of the children really eventually doesn't help. The children suffer. You need to understand that. And I'm going to use Abies' case for those of you who've been following. Her mother stayed down because of the children. But if you listen to Abies, she said she suffered. It was painful. It was a nightmare. Because they had to watch helplessly as their mother got beating over and over and over again. That will mess with your psyche. That will mess with any child's psyche. And in the long run, they're not a happy people. It's a struggle. If they're not careful, they're just going to fall along their same lines. That happened to Abies. She also met an abuser. Sometimes people don't know that there's a different way to love, and they think being beaten up is the right way. Irene, my co-host, mentions lack of financial freedom. That's one of the reasons. Hoping the partner will change, social pressures to be in a perfect relationship. Thank you, my darling. That is so true. She also said, also fear of what others will think. That is a big one. You live your life. People will talk about you no matter what. Please listen to me. People will talk about you. Whether you're perfect in your mind, because you're never going to be perfect, you're never going to be enough. Let me tell you that now. The fastest way to be unhappy, the fastest way to be sad, the fastest way to maintain depression, okay, is trying to please people. You can never please everybody. You can't. You will not. So take yourself, for instance, and excuse me, I'll drink some water. People are like, oh, why don't people love me? Why don't people like me? Well, ask yourself, do you like everybody? If you do, then good luck, because it still won't change anything. Okay. Annie Cutie for life. Hello, love. Thank you for joining. I'm waving back at you. If you're not seeing the wave, I'm being careful not to touch the wrong button. Okay. So you need to understand that. Please take this away from this today. Limelight Tribe. Hello. You need to understand, if you're trying to please everybody, you're going to be very sad and depressed, and it's not going to change anyone. As long as you don't love everyone, don't expect everyone to love you. You just do what you can do and keep it moving. Okay? So, having said that, people will always talk about you. You need to understand that they will. Whether you do it or you don't do it or, they will talk about you. You need to understand that. You don't need to be doing anything wrong or right. People will talk about you. Why do people talk? Again, a lot of times people do talk to make themselves feel better. That's why bullies bully. Because when they're taking it out on you, it makes them feel better. So when an abuser is abusing you, it makes them feel better because they hate themselves. So you have to be very careful. People staying back for what others will think. Then this is my thing. People usually make their opinion of you. Sometimes it's tough to change it. You just keep being truthful to yourself. Some will never change their opinion of you. It doesn't matter what you do. You can kill yourself. It still will not change their opinion. So you try to make yourself happy and those around you, your loved ones, happy. People who stay back because of children, you need to also understand those children become shell-shocked. They are taken through the ringer and they are unhappy. Sometimes a lot of them become very, very unhappy adults, not able to maintain good relationship.